Welcome back to Relationship Status. It's your girl, Nick Cruz.
K. Antoinette, the blogger.
CL Butler.
And your boy, Youssef. And you can catch us on all podcast platforms. Just search Relationship Status Podcast. Well, we're back again with Patty and Darius.
Part 2.
For part 2 of this riveting conversation.
Okay.
Fellas, y'all gonna leave the room?
Yeah, we're going to be out of here. And we're going to let the ladies kind of talk. And
okay.
So we're going to go ahead and throw it to Neek and K. Antoinette. Ladies.
Whew. Where do we start?
Let's start with the yes. You said yes after the proposal. Obviously, I'm from the outside looking in. You're still in love with this man, or you still love him at this point. I know you said you didn't fall in love until after the marriage. How did that go? Like, what were your expectations for the marriage? Like, what were your expectations moving forward in your healing process? Like, how was that going for you?
So, to be honest with you, after, I think things got worse for me after the marriage part.
Okay.
I think when things began to settle, okay, remember I'm on this high. I just had my son. I was actually excited that I'm married because I just did something wild and crazy.
Right.
But then after things settled, my grandmother had come down to help me with my son for the first 2 months of his life.
Okay.
She leaves, and now reality sets in. I'm here by myself, raising my child without my grandma, and it's just him and I. And then all of it just starts coming down on me. Like, I am so hurt, so sad. I literally just uprooted my life for this man to find out that he just cheated on me the way that he did. Now, some people would say, well, he cheated before marriage. But for me, I made a very big decision about my life before I got married. So therefore, I expected much more of you between then and now.
Right.
And so all of that bitterness, hurt, unforgiveness, mistrust just rolled right into this real quick marriage that we just went into.
Right.
So now I want to say all of that happened around October. I started working for a company around April, a new company around April, May. And when I say I'm deep and just hurt and just
because you probably had to suppress it,
yes.
Especially being pregnant. You suppressed all those emotions until you couldn't anymore.
Right. While I'm in my new training class, I meet this gentleman, and
the old work husband.
The old work husband. That's what what happened.
Come bring in the little sausage biscuit here.
Right. And so real nice, real good looking guy, you know, talking to me through chat. You know, we have the little chat online and stuff like that. And it really wasn't supposed to be anything. I'm by nature, I'm not a cheater. I'm honestly not. Never thought to do it, would have never done it. But I was so hurt, I felt like I needed some kind of outlet. And at that time, I'm too embarrassed to tell my friends and my sister and anybody about what he did to me. Like, I was just
so you're
ashamed.
isolated.
So I'm isolated. And then his family was no help. They were really mean and nasty. So I'm getting, not only am I upset with what he did, but his family, his mom, his dad, his sister, all of them are just being so mean and nasty to me.
And you don't have an outlet.
I have no outlet. I have no family in the South either. So that's another big, I think that's another big one too.
That's a big part.
I have zero family here. So I had nobody. I couldn't just go up to Auntie's house down the street or around the corner and just go sit there and get away from this. I was sitting in it every day, all day.
Were y'all in the same apartment?
Yes. Just hurt.
Okay.
Wow. So with this other guy,
no, we moved.
Okay.
We did. I think she's asking.
Oh, once I started at the
ladies part.
Yes. Once I got the new job, then we moved. Yeah. So at this point, we moved at that point.
Okay. So with this other fella, did it start with just flirtation?
Just flirtation.
Did he start bringing? Did he make you feel special?
He made me feel very special. It started with talking all the time, all day, every day. So remember, he worked. I think you worked late at that one. Yes. So he was doing pictures and working late all the time.
Okay.
Not really home. So we're talking all day, every day. We're talking all day at work. Then as soon as we come home from work, we're on the phone.
Did you at one point was like, I ain't supposed to be doing this?
Oh yes, of course, all the time.
Right.
And then it progressed from us just talking to now, because we're in the same training class, so we would go to lunch together. So we
spending
start,
time.
yeah, spending
Dates.
time.
Yeah,
So
little lunch
have a
date.
little lunch
Did you
date.
start wearing cuter clothes to work?
No, I always dress cute.
Oh,
So-
I ain't got to
I was always bad now.
So I always dress cute. So none of that changed. It was just, it went from that step of us talking to progressing to the lunches, and then now with me knowing that he working late. Okay, well let's meet after work.
Oh.
So I was gonna ask, did
Who
you start
first-
to
yeah.
hide? Did you hide it, or
Oh yeah, I hid it to an extent. I was so angry that I wasn't really
You
trying.
wanted him to know.
I wanted him to know, honestly. I wasn't doing it in a way where I was like, oh, I can't let him find out. But I wasn't like saying, here you go.
Right.
This
Yeah.
is what's going on.
How was the home life at this point? Like, how was your dynamic
Oh,
between
the communication?
him and
We were
the
distant.
baby?
Very distant. I really didn't want him to touch me.
Okay.
Now this is when our sex life, this is when it started to change, because
Okay.
it was like I was really disgusted
Right.
by him. I didn't want him touching me. I didn't want him, like, we would have moments, like, you have your good days and your bad days, but there was certainly more bad days than
Because you
there
hadn't
were
healed
good.
or
Yeah.
moved on
Yeah.
from what he.
And then
what
when I
happened.
started this relationship with this other guy, that really was
I
non-existent.
don't
you
need
wanted his
to do
attention.
That's
nothing.
all I wanted.
Yeah.
I didn't want you touching me. No, really, if I ever touched him while I was with him, I felt like I was cheating on
the other guy.
the other guy
Right.
with him.
Did you also believe, because you had just had your son, did anything change from you having your son, not just emotions, physical wise? Did that cause
I
like,
lost
some type
weight.
of-
Oh yeah, I lost a lot of weight after I had my son. I weighed less after I had my son than before I was pregnant.
Did that play a part in this other guy giving you attention and you not wanting your husband?
Oh, it probably did, because I looked good. I'm not gonna know. I
She like
remember
this.
that just being around a time where I was just looking really,
And
like
feeling-
one of my
right,
feeling good.
yeah.
Yes, I looked good. I felt good.
Because your confidence got hit, right? So
Yeah.
when we're talking about cheating, your
Yes.
confidence, take your
Big time.
self-esteem, like everything, you just feel like, oh my God, the person I trusted, the person that I was loyal to has just rejected me in
and
some
that really
way.
took a hit, because one of the women that he cheated on me with, she was like an established teacher.
Oh.
and,
Oh yeah.
You know, she was a graduate.
So then
and
you got layers to your
I
self-esteem.
Yeah.
right. And I want to say she might have been older than me. So
Right.
it was like, I know one of the women was much older than me.
Right.
And then the other one, she was established. I think she drove a Jaguar. And I felt like, wow. Like,
Also, he
That's not me. I don't have that yet.
right, I don't have
I
this
can't
stuff.
compete
Yeah.
with this.
Right.
And so then you probably play in your mind about all the ways you don't measure up. So now you're getting back into
and what you lost in the process
Right.
of where you're at now. You're about to have a baby. You're pregnant. He's cheating on you. Your grandma told you this is not going to work out, and it's all of that falling into you.
yep.
And you're like, what have I done with my life?
right.
so this
And that's
guy's
exactly
probably
where I
a
was at.
vice to try to help rebuild your
He
confidence.
was a vice. And to be honest with you, hope this doesn't make him feel bad. I'm like, this is an upgrade. So he was a very good looking guy.
Right.
And he was making me feel so special, made me feel like I was just the best thing ever, which I was not feeling at
the
that
time.
time with him.
Right.
So it was definitely an outlet. And when I tell you, like, I was probably willing to leave my marriage for this other man. That's how deep
Okay.
we had gotten. And
How long did it go on with you in this affair?
let's say about, if I'm honest, because affairs I think people need to tell the truth about affairs. Just because you say you're done with somebody, you're not really done with that person.
yeah.
Not always. So for many, many years, this,
Wow.
and I won't say the sexual part,
The
but
emotional
the
part,
conversation
yeah.
and the emotional part went on for years.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did you finally decide, like, you know what?
It's over.
I'm going to let it go. Or was it something like he found out, your husband found out, and then you decided to end it, or you tried to end it, or you got tired of, like, you know, what was
So
that?
I'll tell you the truth.
Okay.
So the guy that I cheated on him with was older than me, and I would always be on this because we get guilty, right, when we're cheating. And so, well, if you cheated, I'm talking like y'all may have done this.
I
but
can
if you-
empathize with the
I have. So go ahead.
So you get these guilty feelings, and so I would be like, I can't do this no more. And then a day later, I'm like, okay, I'm
I
back
need my
again.
fix.
Yeah, I need my
Right. And so one day he told me, even after Darius found out, we were still continuing on. But when Darius found out, I kind of stepped away, as I think we always do when the person finds out, we back up. But we still continued on. And then I think it was this one last time, because at this point the guy had purchased me a phone, so I didn't have to use my own phone. I was texting him.
So
from
he was
this one.
invested.
Oh
got
yeah,
two.
he was.
Did he ever? Did he ever want you to leave your marriage, or he was okay where he was?
Years later, he admitted to that, but
Okay.
he never told me that while we were in it.
He just
So-
thought that as long as he can keep you feeling secure
that would eventually happen, because he
Okay.
wound up
Yeah.
eventually leaving his wife. Because
Oh, so he was married too.
too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, so y'all both
okay.
had something to lose.
Yes, we did. So later on, he eventually left his wife and so on and so forth. So, where was I
He
at?
got married.
The double phones.
Yeah,
So after
Gifts.
he was
the
buying gifts. Yeah.
buying gifts, but what was the point we were trying? You guys,
You were
asked me-
saying, I asked you, when did you finally decide to stop?
It was
yes.
done.
So I kept doing that back and forth thing. Like, I can't do this no more, and then go back, right? So it was this one last time where he was like, I was like, I can't do this no more. We can't do this again. And he was like, give me the phone. And I was like, what you mean? And he was like, give me the phone. He was like, I don't think you understand that every time you walk away from me, you're hurting me. And so I can't take you doing this. Like, I think you'd forget that I too have feelings.
So he cut it off.
And so he cut it off.
Do you think you would have had he not?
I honestly don't. I'm be honest with you. I don't know.
Right.
Back then, I don't know, because I genuinely cared about that guy.
Right.
So to be honest with you, and he knows this, the truth is I don't know if he didn't.
How did you feel after that ended?
Oh, it broke my heart.
Okay.
It broke my heart.
Did you project that on him?
Oh, I'm sure I did. I can't remember. I know I'm pretty sure I did, because you feel like I'm so angry that my guy isn't talking to me anymore. I don't want to deal with you.
Like, I done lost my
I done lost
happiness.
my
Yeah.
happiness. Yeah.
So let's go back to like when your husband found out about the affair. How was that moment, and what did you feel in that moment? Did you feel bad, or did you feel like
I felt both.
Both.
To be honest with you, I
Okay.
felt both, because the whole time I'm justifying it.
right?
Like, you literally just cheated on me twice with two different women, hid it from me, like had full on like blown up relationships with these women. How dare you have anything to say? And I mean, he had no empathy whatsoever. Like, he didn't care. Like, he could dish it, but could not take it. Like, I'm done with you. I don't want to be with you no more. Like, not a let's work through this or anything like that. Like,
Got
he
it.
was just like, I'm done. I don't want to deal with this anymore.
Were you
That's
ready
how-
to let the marriage go if he walked away from it?
No,
Okay.
I honestly wasn't.
You were gonna fight for it?
I wasn't. I was gonna fight for it, and I think we did.
Yeah.
We did at that point.
I'm not supposed to talk, right?
You gonna have your moment, I promise.
No, I
Did
was
y'all-
not ready
y'all
to let it
split?
go. No, we didn't.
Didn't separate or anything.
We never
nothing.
separated. Not at that point.
So how has this roll back to each other been, like, from your perspective? Like, how do you get from a place of being vengeful, being hurt, being, you grieving the loss of this, connection you had with this person through their cheating?
Okay, so I'm not going to take y'all through a long story. I'm going
Okay.
to make a long story short, because this wasn't our first rodeo with cheating,
Mm-hmm.
right? So after that, when I tell y'all I was broken and hurt by what he did, I was broken and hurt, and to a point where it changed who I was. And and when we talk about this story, he and I never like to say, I've learned not to point the finger and say that you changed me or you did this to me. I know all the decisions I've made were mine. They were my choices. But I was out there after that. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't cheat on my husband just once. I cheated on him multiple times.
Oh, you spin the block.
And yes, I spun the block a couple of times.
Right.
And from
And you're still young at this
and
point.
we're still
Yeah.
so young.
Well, it's a lot that
So, yeah.
happened.
And I'll be honest with y'all, I've never been single. And I love to, when I'm talking to my friends or anybody that I'm helping through this situation, I always go back to Miles Monroe's series about singleness. You guys have to understand the importance of singleness. I was never single
Right.
in my
Yeah.
adult
Because
life.
it gives you that period to breathe, to
To
heal,
breathe,
to
right.
process
Yeah.
everything.
so
you
I
was-
never was on my own.
You was in that 3-year relationship. Then you had a situationship with him.
With him, yep.
Then you got into a relationship with him.
Oh, then
Then
she
you
got pregnant.
by
Right.
him. Then you went through the trauma of him cheating on you, finding all of that out.
Right.
Then you went and jumped and said, okay, well, let's get married. Well, let's have my baby early.
Yep.
Well,
I had my baby
you
early.
had your
Right.
baby early. You had experienced that. Then you went into let's jump and get married. There was no healing process.
None.
There was no healing time.
No break, no breather to figure out who
Nothing.
you are, what you want, what you deserve. None of that.
None of that.
Okay.
So now he's being faithful. At this point now, he's being faithful. He's now.
How far are you into the marriage at this point?
At this point, let's say we're from year 1 to year 8. Because it was
Okay.
year 8 when he cheated again.
Oh,
Oh,
Lord.
wow.
So you
Yes.
wait, were you cheating from
A
year 1 to year
whole
8?
7
Okay.
for all 7 years. Oh, you had to make
Okay.
up that time.
Yep.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
When I say I was,
Out there.
I was out there.
Gotcha.
And that's the truth of it.
I mean, that's beautiful honesty.
All right, so let me ask you this question. Instead of like, because you cheated because you was cheated on.
Yeah.
You was hurt.
And I was hurt.
Why you never left?
Because she wanted, I know you said you wanted the
if
family.
y'all want the honest truth,
Yeah.
Darius is an incredible provider.
Okay.
And
So the
incredible-
security.
The security was there for me. And he would stay.
Okay.
He would stay. He's a great father, a great provider, and beyond all else, we have a whole lot of fun together. Like we're
Okay.
friends.
Friends.
Yes,
Yeah.
we honestly are. So even if we weren't together, like I could rock with him. Like that's how that's our relationship. And so that is why I stayed, honestly. But for years I always said I probably should have left a long time ago, cleaned myself up from what I was hurting from, and then we could have tried again later on after I got better. But I know my mess is what caused
a lot of
stuff. Yes,
So what
because I
advice-
just couldn't get myself together.
What advice would you give to women right now that are currently in affairs or are processing through an affair that are married?
First things first is do not worry about that other person anymore, because the problem is that you're so worried about what that other person is doing or not doing that you forget to worry about you and heal you. I was so worried and angry about what he did to me and getting him back for that, whatever the case may be, that I forgot about me. So when I tell y'all I was lost, I mean, look in the mirror and like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm nasty out here. Like,
Right.
who are you?
I mean, right. Like, I'm just
But no, but it's the truth, right?
She's
It's
understanding
right.
where you're coming
Right.
Right. So you have to get back to you. Do not worry about him or her. You have to worry about you and getting better for you, so that when you look up, you can be like, they did what they did, but I know for me, I'm good with it all. And it took me years to be okay with what he did to me. And I know people will be like, well, 8 years later, you still upset? Yeah, because I never made amends with it at all.
You never gave yourself a
Never.
chance to heal.
Never.
Neat.
Woo. Wow. That was a lot.
Thank you so much for sharing
You're
being
welcome.
honest. Like
Yeah.
that honesty is incredible, and we appreciate you sharing that story, sharing your portion of it, and just inviting us into something that's very sacred. Very, some people don't want to be transparent with their marriages, but we appreciate you telling us about all the ups and the downs. So
Yeah, it was definitely different from a woman's perspective.
All right, so the guys are back from the bar. One guy hung out for a little bit longer. But we're back, and we went ahead and sent the women for some white Zinfandel, maybe. Or some
Yellowtail.
some yellow,
I don't know what do they drink now.
some Sutter Home. I don't know. Moscato. I don't know.
Paul Marciano.
Paul Marciano.
Boone's Farm.
Yeah, some good old Boone's Farm.
Yeah, Boone's Farm.
Back in the day, some Cisco.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah.
That's more of a city thing.
Yeah,
It wasn't as much
yeah.
South, but yeah.
But we're gonna get into the guy
Yes.
side of the story, his perspective. So,
Young Darius.
young Darius.
I'm talking
Right.
to the young Darius.
Talking to the young
Darius, not,
All right.
not the current man Darius.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool.
So you asked this lovely lady to be your wife.
Right, I did. Well, I didn't ask her really. I said
She asked you?
She didn't ask me
Progressive.
either.
You're
She
progressive,
didn't
my
ask me.
brother. What?
She was.
What happened?
She was so hurt and so broken, and I could clearly see the love that she has for me.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like I hate that I have to see it this way. But I didn't. I didn't ask. I just said, "Look, we're about to go right now down to the courthouse,
Mm-hmm.
and we're about to get married today.
You didn't think that was wild?
Put the baby in the car seat. I was done. Like I thought in my mind it was wild, but I'm expecting her to respond responsibly and say
No.
no.
And she said, yeah.
And she said, "You lying? No, you're not. You can't. You ain't about to do it."
Uh-oh.
I'm like, and the man in me is like,
Yeah, of
yo,
course.
look, don't challenge me. Listen,
Don't test the gangster.
don't test me. Like, look, I'll change your last name
Okay.
today.
Okay.
And we went down to the courthouse on a random windy November day,
Okay.
November 18th. Dropped my Xavier off with my mom and my dad.
And you didn't tell anybody.
They didn't have any idea. And I said, look, we're going to do this, and we're going to tell them about it after the fact. What I'm doing right now and what we're doing right now, me not telling my family and me asking you not to tell your family, this is for you. This is about you. This is between me and you, and you knowing that your husband is yours and that he wants you forever, for life, right? This is the young Darius. This is his, in all his narcissistic carry-on, right? Yeah, this is about you. But really, it was me responding to her challenging me in that way.
Okay.
So this was your act of chivalry of some sort?
You could say my act of chivalry,
Pull out your sword?
my way of trying to escape what I had done.
Okay.
Remember, it became less about me having done something and me being something bad. Like, because guilt and shame, those are the two.
So this is kind of sort of your way of redemption.
My way of redemption. I'm trying to, because my character's torn down. Right? She can't believe a word that I say. Like, I'm seeing who I am in her eyes.
Okay.
And I don't like it.
You got to play the Rocky theme right here. Like,
Rocky thing. I'm trying to fight my way back.
Okay.
I lost my girl before I got her. Now I'm getting her back.
Okay. So you acting good intentions all the way through.
Good intentions
Okay.
all the way through.
Now, did she ever forgive you for allegedly cheating? Allegedly.
So I'm going to say.
Allegedly.
There's no women here.
I wasn't there.
There's no women.
There's no
Yeah,
women.
we can talk freely. This is a safe space.
Safe space.
So, no.
Okay.
She didn't. She didn't forgive me.
Did she say it?
Did she say it?
Take your time, brother. Take your time.
Did she say it? No, she didn't
did.
say it.
Okay.
She didn't say it.
Okay.
That wasn't the dynamic of our relationship.
But y'all did say earlier that, usually stuff between y'all was kind of less said.
Less said. Right.
It was more understood, so to
And
speak.
felt. Yeah.
It felt. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. It's a dangerous way to live there.
It is.
Yeah,
It is, but I knew what I wanted. I wanted her. I wanted my family. And, by the time my son had gotten here, he wasn't going back in.
Oh, no.
Right?
can't
You know
do
what I'm
that.
saying? Like,
No return to sender.
no
return
return to
that.
sender. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, if I was being honest with myself, like, this is what you wanted.
Okay.
And then for me in my mind, it's like, because I told God, like, yeah, well, she's hurt, Lord, and be with me in this. But if she cheat on me, I'm getting a divorce.
Okay. Now,
That was what I said to myself.
did you forgive yourself?
I didn't do that.
Didn't do that. Because you always you're playing catch up now.
Playing catch up now.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't.
And you really didn't. I think sometimes we don't have the time. We don't give ourselves the time or opportunity to really just be like, yo, you know what? Because I think the only way that you would have been able to heal from it would have been to actually sit down, give yourself a moment, and go, hey,
Right. Because
I forgive myself for
what I did.
what I did.
Right.
And it would absolve you somewhat of the guilt.
Right. But
That would not make you move on.
right.
freely.
Right. I'm still processing the fact that I just took out a shotgun metaphorically. And I just blew Patty's brains out.
Okay.
And she's on the floor bleeding.
It's very descriptive. Okay.
Yeah, very descriptive.
No, I'm talking about
yeah.
From an emotional
from an
standpoint.
emotional standpoint.
Heard that.
Yeah.
Or let's say I shot her.
Yeah.
Okay? That's about that.
Yeah.
No, we good.
But the extent of it was she's on the floor bleeding and I don't know what to do. I can't pet her. I can't hug her. I can't have sex with her. I can't buy her something. I can't make it go away. not only that, I don't have the knowledge or the information that I need to make it better.
Okay.
Right. And so I'm doing a very good job of sweeping emotions under the rug and smiling and giving her energy and ravishing her and doing what, right? But then it's, that emotional window opens and then it closes.
Okay.
Right. And so when it's open, I do my best to stay in there.
Okay. So you may overcompensate because you don't know when that window's gonna
open.
Close back on you. Now, my third question on forgiveness is, did you forgive her? We're not talking about after you're married, before, because you were kind of hurt initially.
Okay.
When she rejected you of some sort.
No.
You didn't?
I'm thinking about that now. Now that I'm, talking about it, like, I don't think at that time I had forgiven this person that I had just married for whatever she made me feel.
Yeah.
Throughout.
Right. Yeah.
I never she was unaware of making you feel too, right?
Say that again.
She was unaware of how she made you feel sometimes because you didn't express that to her.
I didn't. Right. Yeah. She wasn't aware.
So she didn't know. She thought it was. Sometimes we carry this bravado. Like
we did.
All good
right.
Yeah. Because
it's fine.
Because it's kind of seen as less manly to be. Hey man, you hurting my heart.
Yeah.
Man.
It is less manly, but you got to know how to.
Yeah. You got to finesse it. Of course.
You can be like that maybe with your lady.
Right.
Yeah. With your lady.
Don't call me.
Yeah. No. Man, listen, don't call me.
Yeah.
Right, because I'm not calling my homeboy does not care, bro.
You don't care.
My
man,
homeboy
get off my line with that nonsense,
bro. What you talking about, man? You need to do what you got to do, bro.
Yeah, whatever that means.
Whatever that is.
What you got to do. Yeah,
whatever that is. Yeah,
we do give each other terrible advice.
Terrible.
Yeah.
You guys are terrible.
Terrible,
bro.
And I've contributed to it.
Yeah,
maybe not yours personally, but.
Sometimes.
I mean,
sometimes.
They told me.
Y'all don't look at me.
They say, "Oh, you did that, bro." Dang, bro, it's over, man. She gonna get you back, bro. Yeah. She gonna get you back. I'm telling you right now.
Yes.
Stuff like that. You get tired of hearing that, but so you stop. You do.
So let's jump a little bit. Now you're married.
Now we married
with child. How did you find out?
The first time.
Brother, all I can handle is one.
All you can handle is one.
I can't handle no more now. I'm going to tell you now.
I won't tell you.
I can't tell you. One. Just tell me no one. It's all my book is one. That's it.
So, when there's no touching, when there's no, sexual engagement on any level, like, because it could be like, maybe a week go by, maybe 2 weeks go by. But when 3 weeks go by, 4 weeks go by, you got to start, looking around. So I knew that she had gotten this new job, and so at that point, I was still doing photography, and I was working 12 hours a day.
Oh, wow.
But I was doing sales. So the longer I stay in the mall, the more money I make. So I was literally like selling drugs. It was like,
oh yeah, you on the block.
You know what I'm saying? Selling these pitches. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I was really on the grind with that. And I knew I had spent a lot of time away. And so I come home, the phone's on the counter, the house is clean, the baby's sleeping. And I'm like, I'm horny. And I want to get something right now.
Okay.
And I'm not about to ask. Like, when I get in the bed, then
it's got to be consensual, though.
Right? It's got to be consensual. Like I feel some kind of way. Oh man, I feel like I need to ask you to have sex with me right now. Why do I feel like that? You know what? Give me this phone.
Oh.
And so I get the phone. I look at the phone. I mean, text message after text message. I mean, it's like.
Oh really?
Didn't even delete them.
Oh wow, just rolling.
Like I'm really like I got the phone like.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, yo.
So you didn't actually read them because that's just.
I mean, I read some of them. You kiss, and I read something about kiss.
That was it.
That's it.
That was it.
Put the phone down. So you kissed this nigga? Yeah. You kissing this nigga? Did you kiss him? Wake up. Right. I'm like trying to get on my biggest, hardest, most hardcore. Right, like deep down inside, like
Hey, man.
I'm like, yo, did you?
Yeah.
Yo, did you?
Wow.
Right, that's where I was at. So,
Okay.
and she's like, yeah, you know, like kind of like
Was it matter of fact? Like it was like, yeah,
it wasn't a matter of factly. Nah, it was
Okay.
just like now looking back at it, my 34-year-old self looking at that 21-year-old situation, she was just broken,
Okay.
Okay.
you know, and just that's where she was at, and she was there vehemently in her emotion. So we have an unspoken communication, and so that was the revelation of it. And there wasn't many words that were needed about it. So it was just me having an emotional outburst and her responding like, right?
It wasn't a so. It was like a yes.
It wasn't
or-
a so. It wasn't a
Okay.
yes. It was like I'm aggravated that you're going through my phone. Why are you going through my phone?
Okay.
Whole deal. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, cool.
What? So what's your next move?
My next move is I take the phone. Well, I want to make her. I want you to talk, right? She's not giving me the words,
Okay.
right? You know, and I'm trying to understand why aren't you expressing what you're feeling right now? And it's like I'm not getting any words. I'm not getting. Like I need you to be intelligibly speak to what's happening right now. Like tell me is what I'm wanting. And my words aren't really saying that. I'm angry and I'm cursing and I'm emotional. So I get frustrated. I'm grab the phone because I want to call him, but then I'm like, I don't want to give him the satisfaction. Then I want to know who he is. I think I know who he is because you told me about him. You said he, you know, we used to work at UPS together. So I kind of knew the guy from the old job.
She didn't know that though.
She did know that because they talked about it. So I said, I know you did not go smash this muscle here. I can't believe.
Yeah.
Right. So at this point, I'm gritting my teeth angry. And so I get the phone. I go outside and I bashed the phone. I smashed it. And I sat on the stoop and I smoked a cigarette. And then I went to bed
Wow.
next to her.
Next to her.
Yes.
Now.
And I probably might have went in the living room and jerked off or something like that.
Wow. That's, okay. You are. Okay. That's another hard. Like, whoa. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Hey.
Hard left.
Hey. We all got to.
But that's
How we get through? Like,
let me be very clear. That is me giving myself dopamine,
Okay.
right?
got
Because I need it right now.
Okay. So,
You know,
did you think you deserved this?
a part of me said that.
Is that part of you forgiving? Like I just like
Yeah.
I've done so much
That
allegedly that
it wasn't.
maybe this is my payback.
Yeah, it was karma.
Yeah, it was-
visiting
yeah.
me. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And you took it as that.
I took it as that. Definitely. Yeah.
Wow.
Processed it as such.
As
'Cause-
such.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of course, still in my mind, there's doubt. Like, I love Patricia Lynn Benjamin. I always have, and I never stopped loving Patricia Lynn Benjamin. She's now Patricia Lynn Porche, my wife. I still love her, and I'm never gonna stop doing it. That's I'm saying that to myself because that was the reality of it. But
Yeah.
I was like, but I also did this, and I also did that, and I also did this, and I still hadn't forgiven myself, hadn't forgiven her, and hadn't processed the hurt of it all.
And so right at this point you got kind of a clean slate. Like you're doing right.
At this point, I'm not.
You're not doing right.
I'm not doing right. I'm not doing right because I'm hurt. So
Okay.
I'm not with my she's saying, you know, he's being faithful at this point. No, I'm not, you know, putting my penis in other women.
Yes.
But I'm not committed to her emotionally. I'm not opening up myself to her emotionally. I'm not.
So you weren't being the full provider.
I'm not even present. I'm not even fully present. At this point, it's hard for me to go to the playground with my family and watch my 2-year-old slide down the slide.
Oh wow.
Like she's literally like having to tell me, Darius, like what is wrong? Like let's just go to the playground with Xavier. Like I know she can remember. It was hard for me to be a father. It was hard for me to be a husband. Like I think that at that point I realized that being a husband and being a father, those are offices.
Yes.
And you got to show up. And you got to do the work. Regardless of how you feel about work today.
You got to show up.
You got to show up.
You can't take a break.
You can't take a break. There is no lunch.
Definitely ain't.
You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
Because if you don't show up today, it's your fault. Everything that breaks down at this point is on you, G.
Yep.
Why? Because you didn't show up. What does it have to do with your emotion? Nothing. So that's how I processed the year 1 to 8.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Right.
So
And then we got to year 8.
yeah, you got to year 8,
Yeah.
and then you
We're
may have fallen back into some old ways.
Okay. So I got to year 8 and I got tired.
You thought you had put up with enough.
Yeah. I got to a enough is enough place. Right?
Okay.
And I'm thinking I'm asserting myself into just like is at this point I'm really trying to be more self-aware, right? I'm reading the Bible, you know, I'm fellowshipping with my brothers, you know, in Christ, you know, I'm doing kingdom music, I'm doing rap ministry. I have this ministry that birthed from my relationship. It's called Thinking Kingdom, right? And I heard a teaching from a minister, like she was talking about Miles Monroe. I heard his teaching one day, and I understood the Bible in a completely different thing, right? And I started talking about renewing of the mind.
Absolutely.
Right. And so I was trapped in my own thoughts and my emotions. And I really started like digging into my music. Like I done put like, you know, 2014, I did a mixtape with my partner. It's called Christ Wave. Then I did Christ Wave 2 with him the next year, 2015. Because my passion is music, you know, so at this point. And it's helping me get back into me being a father again. And then it's also helping me see my wife and not her hurt. You see what I'm saying? Because at that point, at year 8, I'm able to see clearly you are hurt and you're suppressing it. You're going through all of these things and you haven't really gotten free from it. Even though we have fun, even though we take family trips, even though we do all of these things, underneath that, there's a thing there that I no longer have. You have it, you've gotten it, you put it somewhere, and it's there, and you're holding on to it, you're keeping it. And I don't know what else to do at this point, but it doesn't look good for us.
Okay.
Right? And so I think it became an unspoken thing between us. And so now I'm doing all these things. I'm getting these interviews. I'm talking about God. I'm doing, you know, I'm calling myself some type of gospel ministry person.
Okay.
Right. And then I find another text message. Right. Or not from not a new relationship, just something, you know, an inbox. Right. Or just
Got triggered.
got triggered, bro.
Yeah. Okay.
Got triggered. And at that point, the next time I felt like somebody cared about me that was a female, I just said, you know what, here, come here. And
So
and made that person my concubine,
okay.
literally. Wow. And it was somebody that I worked with.
Oh wow. So it was a little accessibility there.
Accessibility.
It was nothing really super special.
Nothing super special. She wasn't pretty. She wasn't,
Yes,
you know,
all the right things.
all the right things
Say-
you would
say-
say,
Nice.
whatever.
Say all the right things.
Yes. Now my final question now.
Yeah.
What kind of advice would you give a person who is like currently in this affair or processing even having an affair?
Is this person a man or a woman?
It's a man.
It's a man.
This person is a man. You need to understand that your number one need is sex.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
That's the way that you're made up biologically. You need to understand that what you need, I'm not saying what you want because you think you want sex, but you need sex. So understand that you need that. And it's not a luxury. It's not something that you just want. Like your car needs gas. And if you don't give your car gas, it's not going to run.
Wow.
So I want you to look inwardly and stop looking outward at your person or who you're in a relationship with, and see if you're self-aware enough to know that you're not getting what you need.
Okay.
And what you're doing is you're just replacing the person you're in a relationship with to get what you need.
So you could put that same energy into your relationship.
You could put that same energy into your relationship if you knew how to communicate.
Okay.
Now, the number one need, the thing that she needs, is affection. She needs your affection. And if you're not giving her the affection that she needs, then you're not going to get the sex that you need. Because that's her number one.
Yeah.
That's her number one, bro. Because after she busts a nut, she needs you to give her some affection.
PNC.
Okay.
Okay, so my advice to you, sir, is understand what you need. We're not talking about things that men and women want. We're talking about things that men and women need.
Within in the confines of this,
Yeah.
to keep this relationship healthy.
Right.
Okay, now the ladies are entering back into the room,
Yeah.
and we kind of gotten a little bit of information from both sides.
Yeah.
Now we've got to discuss the fix.
Yeah. Now on the when we talked in the clubhouse, Pat, I thought you said something. The young lady Mia, and she was, I think it was like maybe she had found out her husband was cheating like recently, like it might have been the day before or 2 days prior to the clubhouse. And you said something that I thought was kind of profound, and I never heard anybody say it before. But it was, understand the first thing for her to get back is she has to understand that what she had is gone, and you're building something new. This is new. You have to create something new. You have to forget what was and create something new. Can you kind of speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the thought behind that is that you don't want to fix what was already broken, because everything that was still in that past relationship is still there, and you don't want to recreate that. So you need to forget all of that. But that comes after one really huge thing. And what I mentioned earlier to Neek and
Kay Antoinette.
Was that it's so important that when you go through a situation like that you go back to you first. You can't begin to work on a broken relationship until you've worked on yourself. Because what happens is you start trying to fix that person and forget about you. So that person, you need to release that person to himself, release yourself to yourself. Once you guys have now fixed yourselves and worked on your wholeness, then you can come back and be two whole people together. And then now you're in a new thing, a new and greater thing. And one thing I always tell people about a relationship, because they always say, well, how could you possibly have made it back after all of this cheating and hate and bitterness and angerness? Is that after he cheated on me, that was the realization for me the second time. It was the realization for me, like, I am a hot mess. I am a mess. Like, like, yes, when I say that one, like the first two destroyed me, but this one really kind of woke me up to who I was and who I was really being to him and to myself. Like I was,
Because you said you justified all those
I
years.
justified it all those years. And that's when I realized I have to start working on me, because if I don't, I'm going to continue being this person in this relationship. And that's taken away from the greatness that's within me.
Right.
And how can I go to my son 20 years from now and be like, all these years I just have been holding your father hostage like this. But something he did all those years ago.
Right.
I can't keep using that excuse anymore. That can't be my excuse. Now I'm doing this because I'm doing this. I'm choosing to be this person. But I don't want to be that person anymore. And that's going to happen to anybody in this situation if they don't try to heal themselves. And even if they do decide to leave the relationship, which I'm not telling anybody by no means stick around and do what we did. It's hard, okay? And we still deal with the remnants of all of that. We do. I'm not going to sit here and act like we perfect now, because we still deal with that. But what I will say is, even if you choose to leave your relationship, don't leave and jump into something else, because you're going to bring all that brokenness, bitterness, and hurt and mistrust into your next thing.
Shoot, even if you don't jump into something else. Because I'll say, like, I've been cheated on before. I chose to leave. I chose to get out the situation. And I had other people around me who had been cheated on, and, you know, had babies on them and everything else. They chose to stay. And I used to judge them. And I used to be like, girl, you stupid. You know what I'm saying? Really, you know, in my young mind, I'm just like, I ain't never deal breaker, blah, blah, blah. And then when I got mature enough to understand, like, the hardest thing you can do is stay and fix it, because you're working, you know, on all the brokenness in yourself and as a couple, and trying to, like you said, make something new, because you have to grieve that old thing.
Right.
You have to grieve it. It's no longer working for you, right?
Right.
Yeah, but at some. Oh, go ahead. I didn't mean.
And I'll be honest with you. I'm glad. So while I wish we didn't go through all of that, but we're much better now than we ever were. But I will also say the work that you have to put in. He started the work first, of course, right? But then when I started doing work, we started going to these marriage groups. Oh my goodness. First of all, infidelity is horrible. It's like up there, right? But infidelity is not one of the worst things that people can go through in a marriage. And what was wonderful about this marriage group is that we could tell that the group curators, I think, or moderators, literally handpicked the couples. Every single couple had their own issue.
Right.
So no one couple
had
the same
issue.
situations going on. So it really opened my eyes to, like, wow,
I can work with
like
this.
we can work with this.
Started judging other couples.
Right.
That's what brings you together, like judgment.
But also understanding that comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
Like, we look at social media and we try to compare our relationship to this person. Well, why is my marriage not like theirs? Or why is our marriage? And another big thing that we didn't touch on that really kind of brought us together too is in 2012, I was deemed medically incapable of having children again. So that too was like another bonding piece for us. Did I say 2002? I meant 2012.
Did you say 2012?
Yeah, that was well.
And so that has brought us together too in some aspects, because it's like, you know, something for us to grasp together. But just putting in the work, getting closer to Christ. Because when I tell you I was so far away from, when I say God wasn't even
on your radar,
nowhere in my radar at all. Finally being okay and opening up to somebody. Like, I do not, when I say for a long time, I lived in shame and guilt for years, until finally I opened up and said something to somebody. That is when I realized I can actually do this. I have somebody not calling me crazy. Because honestly, when usually you hear about men cheating, right? But then when you tell somebody, I've cheated,
it's a whole
times,
different shame.
Right, it's a whole different shame. And you thinking they're going to be like, oh, I don't think you can fix this. But then when you go to somebody who has a strong counsel in Christ, and they can bring you back to knowing that you have to understand that God wants you right where you are. And you need to understand that you have to, I think what you're forgetting is that you don't love you. So I had to get back to loving me again
Right.
before I can even talk about loving
him
and
again.
respecting
Right.
him. Because at that point, I didn't respect him. I didn't love him. I didn't appreciate all that he was and all that he was doing. So finding myself again and finding myself in Christ and healing was the necessities for me to finally find my way back to him. And the fact that he's still here, because most men would have been out.
Yeah, you already know. They could do that one.
that first time.
Right.
They done did all this, and you do one.
Yeah.
Gone.
I can't take
Gone.
it. You better than me.
Hey, listen. I said whether I get cheated on or I cheat on somebody, I'm out.
Gone.
So
I'm
you
out.
say you had to fall back in love with him all over again?
Yeah, definitely
Had to.
did.
Because you had to let go of the old version of him that you had in his
She
mind.
had to let go of the
Exactly.
old version of
Because
herself.
in my
Yeah.
mind, I still hated him for who he was when he cheated on me. And again, we didn't go into the story, but how he allowed his family to treat me.
Oh,
Like
that-
that
yeah.
drove
Lot played in
I could tell that played a part. Yeah.
huge
Definitely.
Yeah,
part.
wow.
Because for them to be here and you didn't have an outlet, you didn't have anybody to go to,
Right.
talk to.
Right.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Are the families better now?
Oh yes,
Way better.
So,
Growth.
so that was on the husband.
yeah. It was on him. He
Yeah,
had to
he
fix
should.
that.
He had to correct his family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But at that point, I didn't establish the bravado yet to,
Okay.
curse my mother out and
Oh no.
Oh,
Okay.
a simple, you ain't
put
gonna
him
talk to my
place
wife like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Still
Like
was-
me and his mama got into a whole fist fight.
No, you didn't.
Wait,
Yes.
Listen.
in it.
She spit in my face.
Oh, okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Lord.
but it was
Ain't
around,
that
and it was
bad.
around the time when my father died, right? So,
Oh, so,
so my
there's a
father
lot of
had there was
emotions.
a lot of high emotions.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
it was. I didn't. I couldn't. I don't know what. All I saw was my son running around screaming,
Oh,
and I'm
wow.
like, "Come here, man."
Yeah.
So you had
You
a
know.
broken marriage and two broken families
Two
that
broken
you had to
fa-
kind of try to
Yes.
fix and break probably generational curses
Right.
too. You
Right.
know, that's probably a thing. But what I think sticks out more than anything with your story is that you two had to grow up together.
Yes.
Right.
A journey that's meant to be, solo dolo, that, fix stuff yourself and
Yeah.
go through and process and mature yourself. You had to do that together because you chose each other so early in your journey.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, of course, it wasn't going to be pretty.
Pretty. It wasn't.
It wasn't. But the fact that it wasn't pretty gives you a good testimony, right? And it gives you something on the back end to look back and be like, oh, I'm so much stronger because I don't know if I would have been this strong of a person now if I hadn't gone through this with this other
Come on now.
spouse,
So were you too young?
Yeah.
Just too young?
Very young.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll say I don't know about for him because he lived a pretty single life. For me, I literally, when I graduated high school, I was in a 2-year relationship then. As soon as I got to college, me and the guy broke up right before I came to college. Then 1 semester off, and then that very next semester, I'm in this 3-year-long relationship. From that 3-year-long relationship, I get right into a relationship with Darius.
You like a Birkin bag.
And
Your value go up, girl.
At no point have I ever been single in my adult life.
Right.
So you're right. I started living single while married.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Because you
never
deprived
had to-
yourself of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wild out.
Yes.
No, not
Right,
wow.
and just-
She just didn't know. She just,
Yeah, I
she
mean-
knew, but she didn't know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But she said herself, she had,
But just-
wild
just-
I was
moment.
out there. Yeah.
Just to add some context and some value to it, right? Because she said I started first, and what I did, because I'm like, well, she can do that. I'm gonna just do it. That's how I justified it, right? Because I'm tired. I'm gonna justify it. I'm gonna just do it.
I bet you had this conviction now, though.
Yes, right. And so I do it, and I'm doing it.
You're doing it wow. I'm
Doing
sorry.
it well.
You had a neat
I
moment.
had to.
And I'm waiting for like the motivation to continue. And like with each event,
It's not even
Yeah.
it don't feel good. It's like, you know what I'm saying?
Something in you is tearing you
Yeah.
apart.
that conviction
Yeah.
because you found God
started
on your
growing-
face.
Yeah, man. And I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm like, yo,
You're not the same person you was when you were 21, when you
right.
were
I'm
20
like,
and
yo, what are
19.
you doing right now, bro? You are bugging out. Right. And it was hard to like, and I'm like, well, how in the world was she able to,
Get over this.
you know what I'm saying? And continue. And how can I? And I just couldn't. And so I had to come to her and just say, like, I'm unhealthy.
Oh, wow.
This is what I said to her. I said, I'm unhealthy right now. I'm not my best person right now. And I love you enough to give you the option. And I know this might mean, you know, we might get a divorce. We might not be together anymore, you know, or whatever. But I love you enough to at least just tell you that I'm just not in a healthy place right now, and you don't need to be with me right now. And I want to give you the option to choose not to be with me, you know, and I know what it means, you know. And I watched her get mad all over again and, you know, and see it. And I'm like, well, yeah, I know you're upset, you know, but I'm going to be working on me. I'm going to be researching and getting information. I'm on YouTube and I'm, you know, on fairrecovery.com, and I'm getting content and I'm educating myself and getting information that I need so that I can stand up stronger in the office, right? Because I know I'm in the office of husband. I know I'm in the office of father. I need to be able to stand up in those offices and be secure about who I am. And that starts with me being honest with you. Like, there's no point.
Or start being honest. You were honest with yourself.
Honest
first.
with myself first, right?
Yeah.
I've decided to be honest with me and honest with God, and I gotta be honest with you. And this is scary because what I'm telling you and this information that you're discovering about me, in spite of what you might have done, in spite of what relationships you might have had, this is really heavy on me, and I'm not about to justify it because of your behavior.
So you took accountability.
I'm not about to make what I'm doing right now about you.
Okay.
And that goes back to what Patty said, that you have to forget about the other person and worry about yourself.
Right. And so when she said that, I wanted to just add some value to that because we're speaking the same language because we did the work, right? And the way that you can test where you are with it is your ability to talk about it, right? And so I was in a place where I could talk about my affair. And here I am, like, she's not there, right? She's not in that place. So I had to be mindful of where she was in her
process.
And her process. And that takes courage.
Patience.
That takes a level of patience that's out of this world.
And
right?
How did you handle that at that age, at that time in your life, versus how did you handle it being patient with her when you were 19 and 20?
He didn't handle it.
I didn't. There was no accountability. Zero.
None. Was brushing everything under the rug.
Everything
Swept everything.
was her fault.
Everything.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Everything. Look, if you wasn't sending mixed messages,
Then I wouldn't have
I
been
would have
out
never
here.
did that. Well, we never got together. You never told me we was together. When did we get in a relationship? You tell me. When did we get in a relationship?
Yeah, that's
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 how
a real
arguments
argument.
yeah.
Those are real arguments.
When did we get in a relationship? But you said no, and we don't get nowhere.
Okay.
And now my 2-year-old is a referee,
Okay.
right? And so you carry on in that. Forget about like who you've had sex with. How about you can't even have a conversation?
Right.
You can't even talk.
Because that was the original issue. Yeah.
That
was the
original
issue.
issue. You can't
The
even
32
get from
sessions.
point A to point B in a conversation. Because whether I ride out with Barbie tomorrow and you ride off with Ken, I still need to talk to you
You do?
in a healthy way. Not you calling me, did my son eat today? Do you got her around that bitch today? Right? Like, I don't need that. You don't need that. Right? So somebody got to grow up. Somebody got to be solid. Right? So I just like, I'm going to just nail myself to the cross. Man, ride off with Tommy today. I ain't solid.
Okay.
Right?
So you sacrificed yourself for the relationship.
No, that's
No?
see
You
that
sacrificed
language, bro.
That language.
That's
I was
wrong
language, bro.
language. That's wrong
He
language.
sacrificed
That
himself.
language. Nah, bro.
Not Christ-like.
Nah.
Or at least his super ego.
my
Oh,
super ego.
Okay, you
Yeah.
sacrifice your ego.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Because you have to. If you're going to be in, I will imagine, because I've never been married, but if you're going to be in any kind of relationship, you have to compromise some of that super ego that tells you it's all about you.
It's all about you.
Okay, you
It's
got
all about,
you
you know,
got
my
you got to
reasoning.
turn it down.
Just
Right.
saying,
You
my
gotta turn it down.
justifications, my reasons for doing whatever. You have to.
Yeah, I'm
And
30.
bro, not even listen, and bro, not even turning it down, bro, but tapping in to the other turn up,
Okay.
the part of you haven't tapped into yet. Not just I'm gonna be a lesser version of me. Nah, like you
Your
stupid
insecurities.
on some level. You kind of stupid, and you need to learn some stuff. You need to read some books.
You do.
You need to have some different experiences. You need to meet some more people. And you're not open to that because you think this is about you.
That was a big part of our success too. We kept to ourselves so much and lived in our own turmoil just by ourselves and would not open ourselves up. And I noticed when he started getting up underneath other married men, or men who've been in relationships and, you know, being open and honest about things, they were telling, you know, they were being good to him and like, this is your wife. There are things that you need to give to her that you're not giving to her. You're not all that you think you are, and
wow.
you say you are. And helping him realize, and I think that was a big one too, is we just did not open ourselves up or allow. Now you're not supposed to talk to everybody about your relationship, but when you get solid people that can kind of come in and help coach you guys through, being up on other married couples and people who are willing to go the test of time, that was important.
Right.
And so luckily now, you know, we have those solid people in our lives that help keep us grounded, especially because right now, like I said, it's not perfection. Every now and again, you like, I don't know if I feel like dealing with this today.
Yeah, I don't feel like saying
Any
yes to this.
relationship.
Yeah, right.
Right. She might be like, "Can you go get me a water?" I'd be like, "Nah, I'm not going to get you a water." Right?
Not the
But then I go
sparkling
get the water. Right? Yeah.
So y'all came out of isolation, you would say.
Yes.
Yeah, most definitely.
Very much
and it's,
so.
it's helpful, you know, because like she said, the super ego becomes this. It's your cape. You had it on your whole life, right? And
It's
then
your armor in a lot of ways.
Your armor in a lot of ways. And then when you realize you got so much more to give, bro, you got so much more experience and so much more to give. You're just not open to letting you care about what people think.
Too
You have
much.
to learn your worth.
Like
Yeah.
that's really be the problem. Like you care about what they think.
But when I realized our story was really touching people, I think that also was like, wow, Darius.
I guess we got to do something
We
now.
realized too often our silence is hurting other married couples.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We have too many people getting divorced at the drop of a hat. I mean, people have gotten divorced for less.
Yes.
For
Much
less.
Way less.
And not
Yeah.
realizing people don't make it to 70 and 80 years or until death.
Right. Like, it's still some value here.
It's still value.
Right.
And helping people understand that while it's a tough road, it's not easy. And most people would have left a long, long time ago. There is definitely still value here. And there are things that you can do to help make your marriage work, even if that means walking away for a year or two. Sometimes you might have to do that just to get yourself together.
Because the remarried rate is kind of high, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is.
People
But
get
now
remarried.
that second marriage, though, the divorce rate is even higher
Yeah.
than the first.
Oh, wow.
And,
It's very
and the
high.
the same work is required. Like
Yeah.
when you get, because when we got married, we only had 40 years of history, right? So you get remarried at 50. That's 100 years
Yeah.
that you got to go through. You know.
Yeah, and your patience can get thin.
Everything.
So how is the marriage today? I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead,
You
Kay.
know?
How is
I'll say this. It's good if we're being transparent and honest. The thing that I deal with still today, because I want to be honest, is sex. And I'll say that because every now and again I get triggers. And when I get triggers of his last affair because of what happened and transpired in that relationship, it sometimes
makes you want to close it?
Turns you
makes
off.
us close the door.
Okay.
Now, I'll say honestly, we have been getting back into the groove of things, but when I get those triggers, it affects us in the bedroom.
Now,
So
with sex being this number one need for men, in your own words, how are you processing this?
You got to stop playing with yourself, bro. Man, whoever listens to this, right? You got to stop. you guys up. You gotta get off the gram, right? You gotta get off.
Oh, okay. You got to stop leading yourself. I thought you was going somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just stop
You gotta-
leading yourself on.
Yeah, leading
and
yourself
getting your
on, the
thoughts.
distractions.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta
Okay.
stop doing that.
Temptations.
Darius, I didn't know where you were going there, bro.
I really didn't know.
But I
You know
followed
why you didn't know?
I followed
You know why you
wasn't
didn't know where I was
sure.
going? Because people don't want to talk about that.
People don't.
Guys don't want to talk about that.
Usually, yeah.
Well,
So I'm just saying when you're dealing with that, that's what we do. We outlet, and we go and we have sex with a image.
yeah, that is true.
And whether we did it one time, whether we did it last, you know, and we're not gonna always be honest about it, but that's what we do. So we gotta stop doing that first, right? We gotta start taking care of our body. We gotta work out. Gotta eat better.
Get that energy out. Get that energy. There's got to be some pent up energy there.
Yeah,
Gotta work out. Right?
go running,
Right.
something.
Well, we really appreciate you guys being on
Yes.
and the candor
Yeah.
and just
Got way more than we were expecting.
Yeah, way more.
Yeah.
Wow. That's good.
But no, I think we didn't know what to expect from the conversation, because even somebody can say, hey, look, you know, yeah, we're gonna be honest, and then it's a jump around from head to head,
Yeah.
jumping over.
Like I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, we're gonna skip over that.
Okay.
But you guys did a good job of and I think your story is gonna help somebody
It is.
out there.
Yeah.
So
Very touching.
we really want to thank you, Darius and Patty, for being on, and once again for your candor. It's extremely refreshing to talk with a couple who's this open about their infidelities and issues within their relationship. So thank you once again.
And the redemption.
And the
Yeah,
redemption.
yeah, the
Yes,
redemption.
and the redemption. Yeah,
Redemption.
definitely.
That's the most
We
important.
ain't gonna leave it on
part.
the back.
Yeah.
So on that note,
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining in on the conversation. We'd like to thank our guests, Patty and Darius. It's your girl, Neat Cruz.
Cantonette the blogger.
CL Butler.
and your boy Yosh, and we are out.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Relationship Status. Remember, you can catch us on relationshipstatuspodcast.com, iTunes, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, Nobody Grinds Like Us, and anywhere you listen to your favorite podcasts. If you would like to join the conversation or leave us a Dear Neek, email us at relstatpodcast@gmail.com or call us at 843-310-8637. Follow us on Facebook at Relationship Status Podcast, on Instagram and Twitter at RELSTAT Podcast, and don't forget to comment, share, 5-star rate, subscribe, and review.
The Relationship Status Podcast is sponsored by Unfiltered. Whether it's hoodies, long sleeve tees, leggings, joggers, or tech suits, Unfiltered has what you need to express yourself in any weather. Visit unfilteredforever.com and use the promo code RSP to get 10% off your entire order. That's unfilteredforever.com, promo code RSP. And remember, there's a science to being you.